Hey, everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we love to take these journeys into music history, and this time we're taking a look at a group that, man, they really redefined 90s R&B.
They sure did.
Toné. We're going to be looking at, their legacy and, unfortunately, the recent passing of a founding member, D'Wayne Wiggins. So
yeah,
that's going to be...
it's a bittersweet story for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of highs and lows.
Yeah, and our guide for this deep dive is this article that I found. It's titled Toné, Rise, Legacy, and D'Wayne Wiggins' Loss.
Oh, wow.
So let's get into it.
Yeah, sounds good.
It all begins in Oakland, California, back in the late 80s.
Right.
Imagine this. 3 cousins.
Okay.
D'Wayne Wiggins, Raphael Sadiq,
Mm-hmm.
and Timothy Christian Riley.
Wow.
All united by their shared love for, soul funk, that classic R&B.
Yeah, like the foundation of it all.
And they decide, let's form a band. Let's, use this family bond we have and this shared musical DNA to create something special.
Yeah, that family connection is really key to understanding their sound. I feel like it wasn't just about the music. It was about the chemistry. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
Like the unspoken communication,
That's a good point.
Only family can really bring that.
Yeah. So they signed with Wing Records.
Okay.
And they released their debut album in 1988.
All right.
It's called Who.
Cool.
Now, it didn't, immediately catapult them to stardom.
Right.
But you could hear the potential in tracks like Little Walter and Baby Doll, those signature funky bass lines.
Oh, yeah.
Smooth harmonies that would become,
Their signature.
Yeah, exactly.
I can hear, like, Sly and the Family Stone, a little bit of Parliament Funkadelic, even, like, a touch of Prince in there.
Yeah. They weren't just imitating, though.
No, they had their own thing going on.
Yeah, they were taking all these classic sounds, and they were blending it with this modern sensibility.
Absolutely.
So fast forward to 1990.
Okay.
And they released their sophomore album.
Right.
The Revival.
The Revival. That's when things blew up.
This is where things take off.
For sure.
This is huge.
Big time.
For them.
It was a cultural moment, I mean, this was like the era of New Jack Swing, but they came with like this throwback soul sound, but it still had a contemporary edge to it.
Yeah. It felt familiar, but also fresh at the same time.
Exactly.
And speaking of fresh, let's talk about that lead single. Feels good.
Oh, man.
I mean,
classic.
Come on.
Oh, it's such a good song.
It dominated the airwaves, became an anthem.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's pure ear candy.
That hook feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I knew that it would.
I mean, you can't not sing along to that.
You can't. It's impossible.
Impossible.
It's just so catchy.
It's so catchy, it just makes you feel good.
Exactly, and it makes sense why it was their breakout hit.
It makes total sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But what's interesting?
What's that?
The Revival wasn't all, party anthems.
Oh.
They had tracks on there like the blues, whatever you want, that showed their versatility,
For sure.
their range.
They weren't afraid to go there.
No, they were not.
Explore some of those deeper emotions.
And I think that's part of what made them so relatable.
Yeah.
For listeners.
For sure.
It's like, how do you create music that's both commercially successful,
right,
but also artistically satisfying?
It's a tough balance to strike.
Yeah, but with the Revival, it seems like they found that perfect balance.
Yeah, they did.
And, speaking of artistic evolution, let's talk about their 1993 masterpiece.
All right.
Sons of Soul.
Okay.
I mean, in my opinion, this is where their artistry hits new heights.
Oh, absolutely. They took everything they learned from those first 2 albums and just pushed it even further. Yep. It's just like this vibrant tapestry of influences, soul, funk, gospel. You even hear like hints of hip hop in there. It's really amazing.
And that lead single, If I Had No Loot.
Oh, come on.
Come on.
That Isley Brothers sample.
It's so clever.
So good.
It's like Love and Money.
Between the Sheets.
Between the Sheets? Come on.
Flipped it,
Flipped it.
They made it their own.
They transformed it into something new.
Yeah.
And it just shows you their creativity.
Yeah.
And how they understood how to pay homage to their influences, but also forge their own path.
Yeah, sampling in the early 90s was becoming an art form in itself.
Right.
And they were masters of it.
They were masters.
They weren't just taking snippets. They were really like recontextualizing those samples.
Yeah. And then, of course, you have Anniversary.
Oh, my God.
I mean, this ballad is a wedding staple.
Timeless classic.
Come on.
Beautiful song.
It's a testament to their ability to craft songs that just, speak to the heart.
Straight to the heart.
Emotions of love, commitment,
Yep.
Beauty of relationship.
It transcended genre,
That's right.
Like people from all walks of life connect with that song.
Yeah, they connected on a deeply personal level.
Yeah.
And it's a perfect example of how they created music that wasn't just catchy, but also truly meaningful, And it's no wonder that Sons of Soul really solidified their place at the top of the R&B game.
Oh, yeah.
But as we all know, the music industry, it's always changing.
Always evolving.
Always evolving.
Never stops.
Yeah, the late 90s, saw this rise of hip-hop.
Oh, yeah.
And new R&B artists that were, kind of pushing boundaries in different directions.
Right.
It's a huge time of change in the music industry.
For sure. A lot of artists felt the pressure to kind of adapt their sound,
Yeah.
to fit in with those emerging trends.
And for Toni the Toné, their response to this shifting landscape came in the form of their 1996 album,
Oh, okay.
House of Music.
House of Music. Yeah, this is often seen as like a turning point in their career.
Yeah.
Instead of chasing trends, they just doubled down on what they loved, which was that live instrumentation.
Right.
Classic soul.
You can really hear it in the production, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like that warm, organic sound.
Absolutely.
It's almost like they were consciously, stepping back from all that really polished digital production that was getting popular at the time.
Yeah, it shows you they had like real artistic integrity.
Yeah.
They weren't afraid to do their own thing.
They weren't afraid to zig when everyone else was zagging.
Exactly.
And while it didn't quite reach those same commercial heights as Sons of Soul,
Right.
I mean, it still went gold.
Yeah.
And it got, critical acclaim.
Definitely.
So I think that speaks volumes about their dedication to creating music that was authentic to their vision.
For sure, tracks like Thinking of You and Let's Get Down Tonight are like perfect examples of their ability to blend that classic soul with a more contemporary feel.
Yeah, I hear that. Like they weren't afraid to experiment.
No, they weren't.
With Tempo's arrangements.
Right.
But it still had that signature Toni sound.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But unfortunately, around this time, internal tensions started to kind of bubble up within the group.
Yeah. It happens sometimes when bands reach a certain level of success.
Right.
Creative differences and individual aspirations can sometimes lead to friction.
Yeah. Raphael Saadiq, who would become increasingly prominent as the group's frontman,
Yeah.
He started expressing a desire to pursue a solo career.
Yeah, okay.
And by the end of the decade, they announced an indefinite hiatus.
Yeah, it was bittersweet for a lot of fans, I think.
Oh, for sure.
It was exciting to see what they would each go on to do individually, but it was also sad to see the end of an era.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Raphael went on to have a very successful solo career,
He did.
both as an artist and a producer.
Yeah, worked with some huge names.
Huge names. D'Angelo Solange,
Yeah.
John Legend. I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, if you love Toni, definitely check out Raphael Saadiq's solo stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear those same influences,
Yeah, for sure.
The attention to detail, that commitment to pushing boundaries.
Absolutely. And then, D'Wayne, he focused more on producing and mentoring aspiring artists at his studio in Oakland.
Yeah, D'Wayne Wiggins is grassroots entertainment.
Yeah, he was so passionate about giving back to his community.
Yeah, and nurturing young talent.
Totally. And then you have Timothy Christian Riley. He became a sought-after session musician, lending his skills to tons of projects and collaborating with a wide range of artists.
Yeah, they each found their own path, but it's amazing to see how their individual success is really rooted in that foundation they built together.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Toné.
And speaking of leaving a mark, their influence on the neo-soul movement of the late 90s and early 2000s is undeniable.
Oh, yeah, huge influence.
It's huge.
For those who might not know, neo-soul is like this subgenre of R&B. It blends those classic soul elements with contemporary production and often incorporates jazz, funk, hip-hop, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's a really cool blend. And you had artists like D'Angelo Erika, Badu Maxwell, Lauryn Hill.
The great.
They were all at the forefront of this movement.
Yeah.
And they've all cited Toné as a major inspiration.
Yeah, you can hear it in their music, those intricate harmonies.
Oh, yeah.
The arrangements, the soulful, organic sound.
That's all there.
It's like Toné laid the groundwork.
Yeah, they helped shape the sound of R&B, for sure, paving the way for a new generation of artists who were, pushing boundaries and exploring new sonic territories.
For sure, it's a testament to their lasting legacy.
Yeah. But sadly, this part of our deep dive takes a somber turn.
Okay.
On March 7th, 2024, the music world received the heartbreaking news of D'Wayne Wiggins' passing.
Oh, wow.
At the age of 64, after a battle with bladder cancer.
It was a huge loss for the music community.
It was.
D'Wayne was more than just a talented musician. He was a mentor, a community leader, a true innovator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
His soulful guitar riffs, his smooth vocals,
Yeah.
his songwriting. I mean, it was all integral to Toné's magic.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond his musical contributions, he was known for his warm personality.
Yeah.
His generosity and his unwavering support for young artists.
His dedication to fostering the next generation of musicians really speaks volumes about his character.
It does. And after his passing, fans and fellow musicians, they all shared tributes.
Yeah, it was really touching to see how many lives he touched.
Raphael Saadiq and Timothy Christian Riley, they released a joint statement expressing their sadness.
Mm-hmm.
They said D'Wayne was more than a bandmate. He was family.
Oh.
His spirit, creativity, and love for music will live on forever.
So true.
We will miss him dearly.
What a beautiful tribute.
But amidst the grief, there was also this sense of celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Because just a year before D'Wayne's passing, the group had reunited for a tour in 2023.
It did.
Much to the delight of their fans.
Those reunion shows were something special.
I bet.
You could feel the energy, the shared history between the band and the audience.
Wow.
It was clear they were so happy to be back on stage together.
I bet it was bittersweet, though, knowing that it would be one of the last times they'd get to see D'Wayne perform live.
Yeah. Definitely a poignant moment, but I think there was also an overwhelming sense of joy and gratitude.
Yeah.
It was a chance for fans to celebrate the music that had meant so much to them over the years.
Totally.
And to witness the magic of Toné one last time.
Yeah, it sounds like those reunion shows were really special.
Mm-hmm.
Just a real testament to that connection that Toné had with their fans.
They had such a dedicated following.
They did. And as we kind of wrap up our deep dive here, what are some of the takeaways you think our listeners should remember about their legacy?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is how they navigated the music industry. It's constantly changing.
Always.
And they really stayed true to their vision, even when there was pressure to, follow trends.
That's so true. They evolved, but they did it on their own terms. You're right. They never sacrificed their sound or, that commitment to quality.
They knew who they were as artists, and they stuck to that. And I think that's a big part of why they were so successful and so influential.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember how versatile they were.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they could do it all, the smooth ballads, the funk jams, the more, introspective tracks.
And they made it all sound so distinctly Toné.
Exactly. Yeah, those harmonies, the arrangements, the groove.
It's undeniable.
It's just music that, it makes you feel good, but also make you think.
Right.
It makes you reflect.
It's not just surface level.
No, it's not.
There's depth there.
Yeah, and it's a rare combination, to be able to make music that's both commercially successful, but also, artistically significant.
It's not easy to do.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
And their impact on, subsequent artists.
Yeah.
I mean, it's clear as day.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear it in the neo-soul movement. You can hear it in contemporary R&B. I mean, countless musicians have followed in their footsteps.
They really helped shape the sound of R&B,
Yeah.
paved the way for so many artists who came after them.
Absolutely. And while D'Wayne's passing is, it's a tremendous loss.
It is.
I think it's important to remember that his spirit and the spirit of Toné, it lives on in their music.
It does. Their music continues to inspire and uplift and connect with people.
It does. And so if there's one thing I hope our listener takes away from this deep dive, it's to, rediscover Toné.
Yeah.
Or discover them for the first time if you haven't already.
Exactly.
Let their music wash over. You appreciate the artistry, the passion, and the legacy they left behind.
Their story is a great reminder that music has the power to transcend time.
Yeah.
It can heal, it can bring people together.
It's a legacy that'll continue to shine brightly for, years and years to come.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining us on this journey through the world of Toné. We'll catch you on our next deep dive.